Hey, hello. My name is Cody Canning. I'm the director of the First Year Learning Initiative. I also teach in the First Year Seminar and direct that program as well. I am broadcasting live today, as it were, from my pre-pandemic office, which I can only describe as gross and creepy. Anyway, these brief clips that this presentation here is a part of are designed to offer you applicable evidence-based ideas for you to consider in your Phi classroom or teaching or learning spaces broadly. I'm choosing to present these ideas today, both for faculty and teaching assistants in the same resource, because all of these ideas really can be deployed as well by both parties with slight modifications, of course. These are fairly low-tech presentation. They're only a few minutes long, ideally. And below this screen here, when relevant, you'll see a number of links and resources for you to see actual examples of some of the things I'm talking about and see if you want to deploy them in your Phi classroom. But before I begin real quickly, I want to just back up and offer some perspective or some context. Phi is a student success initiative. Generally, when we discuss student success in college, the assumption is we're talking about student success for all students. The reality, however, is that we usually are, when we talk about student success for all students, we're taking what some people might consider a universalist approach, which by its very nature doesn't often dive deeper into who makes up all students. In a common universalist approach, often faculty and TAs end up supporting a theoretical student body that commonly reflects what we assume as individuals students should know or should be able to do, and so forth. More to the point, we often support students in ways that were helpful for us in our lives as students, without recognizing that our individual experiences are not often reflective of a full spectrum of student experience or identity. This is why these clips, each of these, will offer ideas and insights into student success within a DEI framework. So diversity, equity, and inclusion. Before we jump into these resources, let's briefly unpack these three words. Diversity, first and foremost. I prefer to think of diversity in broad terms. I like to think of it as the racial, ethnic, cultural, genderal, and even cognitive diversity present in my classroom. To me, diversity is more than addressing the influence of race and ethnicity in the classroom. It is also about recognizing the influence of non-binary gender identities or even neurodiversity, like students who are on the spectrum or who may be differently abled. Think dyslexia or ADHD, disabilities and disorders that are often seen as deficiencies that actually carry with them great assets and adaptive strengths, by the way. The question for faculty and TAs is the question for you to consider. How do you honor and support this diversity that's enrolled in your classroom? The short answer, at least from my perspective, is we honor diversity through equity and inclusion. Now, to be frank, these terms are subject to discussions across many fields, but for the sake of simplicity in these trainings, I'd like to merge inclusion and equity into a common thought. In this way, we may think of inclusion and being equity-minded as a faculty and TA, as being educators who design and facilitate spaces that are equitable, meaning that a diversity of students have the opportunity to meet their full potential. It's a place where certain students are not overly advantaged. It's also a place where students feel safe and where students can access a sense of belonging. The ideas and insights to follow are all captured or pulled from, in many respects, from a lovely text just published by Addy et al., What Inclusive Instructors Do. The three video clips to follow represent the lessons pulled from this excellent work. Each video clip contains ideas suitable for faculty and TAs. The themes to follow take the title and turn it into a question and are in themselves answers to that question. Well, what do inclusive teachers do? What do inclusive TAs do? Number one, which will be the subject of the first film to follow, or the first clip to follow. They take responsibility for making their facilitation, teaching, and their curriculum inclusive. Number two, they care about and for each and every student they serve. Number three, they change their teaching or facilitation based on evidence about the practices that support and challenge all students, by which I mean a diversity of students. to thrive. I'll conclude this section with a brief plug. For faculty teaching Phi courses that are interested in expanding their skill set and knowledge around equitable and inclusive teaching practices, please consider joining the Phi Equity Academy this upcoming spring and summer. That would be of 2022. More information will be shared on this opportunity in mid-fall, likely campus-wide. In the meantime, please send any questions you have to phili@nau.edu. We hope you enjoy the information to follow and find it useful. Ta-ta.